created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Earlier in the show, we were talking about aromatase inhibitors. Questions from Leon James. Should you take an AI during PCT? I did HCG, Clomid, and Testalize. Went to get blood work after 9 weeks, and my estrogen was through the roof.
Yeah, usually when you're off cycle, you don't really need to take an aromatase inhibitor because you're not taking any. You shouldn't be massively aromatizing your testosterone. First of all, you probably don't even have that much testosterone in your body because your body's probably not producing that much natural testosterone. And unless you're like a really high aromatizer, that's usually not the problem. Even when guys are on HRT, I tell them, just take Testalize. Sometimes an aromatase inhibitor is too strong. But having said that, I said earlier, everyone's a little different. Some people convert to estrogen at a very high level. Like I'm a high DHT converter, low estrogen converter. A lot of people are high estrogen converters. So you get people like him, their testosterone is 300 on blood work, which is super low. And then they have an estrogen level through the roof, meaning that they probably had a 500 testosterone, but most of the testosterone got aromatized. So in those cases, you might want to take a half an Arimidex twice a week, just to kind of keep that a little lower. But you wouldn't know that unless you did blood work. Like they probably don't even, a lot of times you have high estrogen, you don't even know it. So my, I guess, answer to your question is the only way to really make the right decisions is to check blood work. Go for your hormone panels, check testosterone, estrogen, that type of stuff. What's great about all these hormone replacement clinics now that are out there, like TitanMedicalCenter.com, if you go and you do their blood, I think they still have their blood work special going on. Not only do you find out, if you're low in hormone levels, but you're going to get they do a complete hormone panel. So you're going to find out your estrogen, you're going to find out your DHT levels. It's kind of good information, even if you're not actually going to go on hormone replacement, just to get your hormones checked, once or twice a year. So once again, the more data you have at your disposal, the better you're going to be able to make your decisions. I could tell you what to take, which I do all the time. All right, I want you to go off cycle. You're going to do HCG for 2 weeks. You're going to do Clomid for 2 weeks. You're going to stay on Testalize to limit DHT levels and estrogen levels. And then you're going to go back on after 8 weeks. But I don't really know what's going on that whole entire time. You're going to probably take blood work once during that whole time, probably after being off the drugs for 4 weeks. That's usually when I recommend it. And you're probably going to have a very low testosterone level. Usually I see low estrogen too at that point, because if you don't have a lot of testosterone, you don't have anything to aromatize. But every once in a while, I see a person like this, super high estrogen too, and we do something about it. Or they have super high DHT levels, and we do something about that. So collect your data.
Take a couple more questions. DJ74. I keep seeing these young guys doing, and he puts it in quotes, quote, Tren. Is it Tren ? Do these guys really have any idea what they're really shooting?
It's funny because, when we talk about identifying drugs, Trenbolone has a really distinctive look. Usually it's kind of like a really yellowy, orangey colored drug. And, a lot of times people get a cough after taking it. So there are ways of, like, it even has a certain smell. It's hard for me to explain what the smell is, but I know what the smell of Tren is. And a lot of people, probably have real Tren out there because it seems to be easy to access. And I don't think it's that expensive when you get the Tren powder. But the only definitive way to really know what you're injecting would be to use the Roy test kits that I sell at DavePalumbo.com, because then you can test the product and see if what you really are injecting is really what it is. And that's the only way to know for sure. So I would say a lot of the Tren out there is probably good. I haven't seen that many, false or that many, failed tests. I see a lot of failed tests for Primabone. I see a lot of failed tests for Anavar. Usually Anavar is Dianabol. Usually Primabone is test propionate. I would probably say every once in a while I see some fake testosterone. A lot of times what people think is test-cypionate or enanthate is actually test-propionate. So, and sometimes there's nothing in some drugs. I've seen a lot of test results people send me, and they're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's nothing. There was no color change." So there is fake drugs out there. Don't get me wrong. How much of the Trenbolone is fake on the market? That would be impossible for me to know. But I will tell you this: I haven't seen that many people reporting to me that their Trenbolone testing is off. So that's a good sign. And I think it's because it's like I said, Trenbolone has a certain look and smell, and it's hard to kind of fake that. If you put test propionate instead of Tren, it's not going to have that orangey yellowish look, and it's not going to have that smell, and you're not going to get the cough. So once again, I think less people fake Trenbolone these days than they do other drugs.
Let's go to Nico Cantemir. If you took Ramipril 2.5 mg during a cycle, do you have to take it for the rest of your life or only on the duration of the drug cycle?
It's a good question. I took Ramipril from 2004 up until my surgery, which was in March. So that's almost 20 years. That's about 19 years. And after my surgery, I couldn't take it anymore because my blood pressure was too low. And now my blood pressure has come up a little bit, but it's normal. So it's like I'm like 115/75, which is perfect. It's not too low, it's not too high, and I'm on no Ramipril. So to answer the question, no, you don't have to take it the rest of your life because your body changes. Some guys just take it while they're on a cycle or when they're on an off-season mass cycle because that's the only time their blood pressure goes up. And then they can stop taking it, when they're dieting, and their body weight is lighter. So you have to kind of go by the only way to really know would be to test your blood pressure. So, excuse me. My suggestion is go to CVS or go to Amazon.com and buy a auto-inflate cuff. Make sure if you work out, you get the one that has an interchangeable cuff because for most bodybuilders, the regular arm cuff is going to be too small. You're going to need a leg cuff. So I always recommend if you're going to buy a blood pressure, machine, buy one where it has the two cuffs. It comes with the leg cuff and the arm cuff, and you can interchangeably pull them on and off. And for more than I'm still using the leg cuff, and I don't even have big arms anymore, but my arms are way bigger than the average person. So you're going to need the leg cuff if you're a bodybuilder, and just test your blood pressure all day long, and you'll get trends. If you start seeing it going up as your body weight, oh, you know what? I went from 260 to 290 in the last, 8 weeks. And now my blood pressure all of a sudden is high. I'm coming in at 150/100. That's very high. So at that point, you probably should take something like Ramipril, an ACE inhibitor. Now you start dieting and you go down to 240, and now your blood pressure is so low that when you take your Ramipril, you're getting hypo, you're getting like lightheaded and stuff like that. And you take your blood pressure and, oh my God, it's 100/50. So that's too low. So now you don't need the Ramipril. So you stop it. So yeah, it's not like a sentence for the rest of your life. It's just going to be according to, and probably later in life when you lose weight, you probably won't need it at all. It depends. Everyone's different. I didn't have high blood pressure when I weighed 300 pounds. When I hit 34, 35 years old, all of a sudden I started getting high blood pressure. So once again, genetics, did your family have high blood pressure? If they did, you probably will too.